Well, goddamn, and it entered sent fast. We went live really quickly there. All right, at Rekt Radio, episode 82. We're here. We're ready. We're back. Yeah, I don't know. We'll get into some market stuff. We got BitBoy today. Ben Armstrong, he's joining us, so that's amazing. Hold on, let me mute the Twitter. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's not a Rekt Radio without a technical difficulty. The sponsor today is Rekt Drinks, I think. Oh, Seth, you want to get into that?
Yeah, we've got a code to give away finally back on the show. So if you guys aren't already registered, go to rewards.rektdrinks.com and use the code WTF is drank 69, and you'll get some free bonus points for that. We'll leave that up and running for 2 hours, so you'll have the duration of the show and another hour afterwards to go claim it. But rewards.rektdrinks.com, just have to register there and whack in the code.
Beautiful. I mean, the viewership definitely is going to go up now that we're giving away free shit again, right? I mean, we were dipping for a bit there when we lost our sponsor. Oh, well, we didn't lose the sponsor. We left the sponsor. Let me reiterate that. Yeah. I don't think the market's moved since the last time we talked, guys. I don't know. What I'm looking at the chart now for Bitcoin, especially. Pretty sure the Bitcoin volatility is zero. What do you guys think about the market here?
Bitcoin volatility is zero. Meme coins have all gone to zero. In the it's not feeling so great out there. If you're just a Bitcoin holder, like I think you've had a pretty chilled summer. But if not, if you're in the trenches, then yeah, you've been blown to bits.
The trenches have been flooded, and everyone drowned. BitBoy, you doing anything with this stuff here? I mean, the volatility is zero. Do you trade at all? What do you do?
Yeah, I do some trading. I am wildly successful and wildly unsuccessful, as a lot of people are in the game. Yeah. I back in 2021, in between, I think about February and March or January and March, I turned like 80K into $1 million live on the channel. And that was like my biggest success I've ever had trading. And I've had some big losses since then, but I'm still up, well in the, high six figures overall for leverage trading. And I'll have a really big win. Here's a for instance of kind of like some of the stupid stuff that I do that it makes me lose. Is I had a long on Solana. I had it at 4x. I think I got it at like $127 or something, and it went up. And what happened is I ended up pulling profit at like, man, 140, $7, whatever it was. It was really good. And I made like probably, I don't know, like 500 or 600% on that trade. And at some point I moved up the leverage and taken some profits. And then, so I had basically in a few days, I quadrupled my bankroll on Femex. I'm actually on a Femex space after this. They're my exclusive trading partner. And the next day or a couple days later, XRP, the news came out. And I thought I was early to the news. So I immediately went and I was like, oh, it's at 64 cents, but I'm going to go ahead and long it. I'm just going to hit market so I can get in right now. And of course, 64 cents was the very exact top. And when I market bought, I was not paying attention. And when I bought, I lost 25% immediately on the buy. And it's like, I don't have time to sit around and trade all the time. And so because of that, I'm a periodic trader. I'll trade for a couple of weeks here and then I won't trade for a while and then I'll come back to it. And, I have some wins and losses, but overall right now, the market's really hard to trade. I mean, we've been stuck in like within an $8,000 range, I think, or something like that for quite a while. We were just looking at it on my show. And we all know that at the end of decreased volatility, will get an explosive move one way or the other. And you have to think outside of a black swan that move's going to be to the upside. And it's going to be hopefully at the end of this quarter or the beginning of next quarter, this month or next month, probably.
Yeah. Feels like everyone's moving to Tron this week, which I don't know if that's a late cycle or mid-cycle move, but yeah, we'll see how that one ends up. So just to have a bit of background, you've now got a new show. You've got which is on YouTube, I guess, and whereabouts are you with that? Like, how are things going? I know it's been a crazy last few weeks for you / months with
a year. It's been a year, a full year. It was actually, so a lot of people don't know the background. It all started on August the 16th last year. It started behind the scenes.
Oh wow, that's like a year.
Yeah, it's over a year now, and it became public on the 27th. So it had been going on for about 11 days before that, with a lot of really intense stuff behind the scenes. And I got thrown out, and it was all illegal. It wasn't done so we had this operating agreement, and there's a clause in the operating agreement that was used, but not another thing in the operating agreement was done. And so what I've had to do at this point over the last year, I've been trying to piece together like what happened. because at first I knew it was a conspiracy because they were lying. Like they said, I relapsed. Like that's not true. Let's take the Lamborghini for instance. Okay, the Lamborghini, they said publicly on Altcoin Daily Show, they said, "Oh, we don't. He's ridiculous about Lamborghini. Nobody knows anything about it." And that then what happens is that they say, "Oh, what was sold? It was a corporate asset. It was sold and it was given to this investor, Carlos Diaz, this Black Mafia guy." And so we just found out this week that Tim Shedd, TJ's dad, was the person who actually handed Carlos the title. We now know who gave him the title. We have evidence of TJ in text messages or in Slack talking about trying to sell the car off for 3 or 4 days before they extorted me over it. And the title for the Lamborghini is frozen. It's been flipped, I think, 5 times since they bought it or since they took it from me. But the title's frozen because at the end of this, that is going to probably roll back to me if there's any possible way to do that. And so throughout all of that stuff in the beginning, it was horrifying. Cassie and I thought they were trying to kill us. And there's certainly, that's the way that it was supposed to feel for me. Jeez. They tried to blackmail me. They thought that they could get me to do whatever they wanted if they didn't reveal my affair. I am a cheater now, I guess, but I've never been a cheater in my life. It's the first time in my entire life that I had ever done that. And I met someone that is my other half. I mean, my soulmate. And that may sound corny, right? I think it's cooler to say twin flame now, if you want to be in a cult. But the point is that I met someone who, like, I just clicked with more than I've ever clicked with anybody in my life. And I wasn't looking for that. And it just kind of happened, and life happens. And that's what I've learned. I've been judgmental in my life, and life happens to people, and things change for me. And they thought that they could leverage that against me to get me to do what they wanted, which was to pump and dump and all kinds of things. It's going to come out. The CFTC investigation is all about them pumping and dumping behind the scenes. Pepe is on that list, by the way. Pepe is on that list of 15 coins that the CFTC wants address on all trading history of for his network. Yeah, and that was done. People have to understand, like, it's amazing that TJ just continues to just bold-faced lie because he knows what's coming. He knows what's coming eventually. I'll talk about my big win we had in court this week. But the fact is that it's all made up. Literally from day one, when I gave crypto when TJ gave me a crypto address to send company crypto to, he was stealing. He was stealing from day one. We have an affidavit from AJ that says TJ was going around the building after they fired me saying, "Man, if anybody were to ever get in this books, we'd all get fired because of something that I did very early on in the company." Like we have an affidavit of AJ swearing that he said that to him. And that was, yeah.
I just didn't really get like that you weren't an owner of the company. That's something I just was.
I am an owner. I still am.
Yeah, as in like that would be a strategy because it was like your name of the company. But let's go into that a little bit. So like, how did these? Because I know since then you've like made like there's a lot of claims about being like a criminal enterprise.
Oh yeah,
and all the stuff that you think they did behind the scenes. So what are the sort of deals that you're talking about? Is it just like a classic KOL deal, or were you talking about crazy deals here? Were they people offering you like 10% of the token and then you like manipulate and stuff?
I don't know any of that. Like that's the thing is this was all done behind my back. They slowly manipulated all of the finances for me, from me, and. They had some wallet set up at the office that was hooked up to a multi-sig that they claimed was mine. I've never even seen what our multi-sig looks like. Right? I'm so hands off. I trusted these people. Like I trusted TJ and his dad completely. I brought TJ in as a friend I've known from crypto, and Justin Williams, 7up.eth, formerly NFT Justin or whatever. The fact is that guy was stealing from me from day one as well, and he's connected to all kinds of bad stuff. We have there is kiddie porn connected to these addresses. There is the parody hack is connected to these addresses. I think it was called Swarm hack. I think from 2017 connected to these addresses. Like people think like in May, did people notice the parody hack money move for the first time in years and years and years? Right? There is dark stuff connected to these addresses, and the CFTC, the title of the CFTC investigation People don't even know this. I will give you the title of it. The title of the investigation is Certain Persons Engaged in Fraud with Respect to Spot Digital Assets and Metals, Digital Asset Swaps, Digital Assets and Metals Retail Commodity Transactions, and Related Unlawful Conduct. And I'm just trying to think if there's like, I don't think there's any. I mean, everybody knows Bitcoin's on the list, but Bitcoin is connected to them. We have direct addresses where they dump millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. And then when they were giving information to the court, and I assume they lied to the CFTC, they just labeled all their addresses as mine. And you start to see what they were doing is they were literally dumping Bitcoin to make me look bad, because so they sent me and Cassie over to Dubai. This would have been in the end of June. Okay. They sent us over there. And while we were there, they set up all these meetings through these people that Carlos, Larry Smith is his real name, that he had connected us to over in Dubai. And we were having all these meetings. We did have one or two meetings with some people that were, Bitcoin advisors or were going to be Bitcoin advisors. And those were meetings that Cassie and I set up. Every other meeting that was there was set up for us. And every single one was money laundering. What they wanted us to do.
Dubai, man. It's Dubai.
Yeah, they wanted, Hit Network wanted me to go to Dubai and money launder. And they tried to set that up with Bitcoin so they could later go and say, oh, look, Ben did all this stuff. It was him. And then I would be in trouble. And then they could hide all their stealing because it would look like I'm the criminal. And that's all what they've tried to do this entire time. And so when we went over there.
Just go back. How did you meet these people? Like, who you said you started in crypto with them? Like, these seem
Well,
like
Justin Williams. Justin Williams is the one I've known the longest. And we go back to 2008. I went to rehab back in 2007. I overdosed, had a really bad, drug addiction back then. And this one thing they tried to use against me was say that I relapsed. And so Justin Williams was actually a person that came into the rehab I was at. And I was the person that did his interview when he came in. And then we went and we worked at a place together. And then after that, he did graphic design for a company I had for a while. And then 2017 or early 2018, late 2017, he messaged me about crypto. We hadn't talked in a few years. He had this really bad relapse and had supposedly gone to Florida and done another rehab and stuff. I'm not 100% sure if what is true and what is not true that he's told me. But he, from day one, when he came into the company, he helped me design our first NFTs, and our first NFTs did really well. And a lot of people know he was, behind Pluto Alliance and in charge of all the Pluto Alliance funds. All the Pluto Alliance people know that, and they were telling me he was stealing the whole time. But before all this happened to me, I was just so trusting. Like, I believed it. I believed that Justin wasn't. He said, "No, they're confused. We've actually given them more money than we even made in the sale, and blah blah blah." And it was all lies. It was 100% lies. And so that was Justin Williams. TJ got sent to me. He lived out in California, and I think there's someone else behind this. I'm not going to speculate who it is, but I think there's another person that's silent that's behind this that kind of orchestrated this. Yeah, I do. I think that is going to come out. I will tell you, I got let know. How am I trying to say this? I found out that the IRS audit and the CFTC letter were coming. I knew they were coming. I didn't know they had been received, but I knew they were coming before they got hit. And I kept talking about something big happening, and that was it. It just took a little bit longer. It was actually delivered on July 16th. The thing is, I know all this because I have a contact that's very high up. I'll just say that, and tells me things. And what he told me about this case, his exact words to me were, I said, "I'm so frustrated with TJ. Like, I just want this to be over. It's so obvious that they stole from me now and all this stuff. Like, I want it to be over. Like, I'm ready to get my stuff back." And he said, "Why are you even worried about TJ?" He said, this is just a prologue. And I was like, "What?" It's like, just a prologue. And then all of a sudden, I started thinking more and more about a lot of connections and things like that. And I believe there is someone behind. I think someone has massive blackmail on TJ. That's what I believe. Massive blackmail on TJ. And we'll get TJ to go all the way to the end line before he ever tells the truth. And he'll go to prison before he ever tells the truth. He'll just keep denying it and keep denying it. And that's what's going to end up happening as a result of this CFTC case, I'm sure, unless somehow there are people above him that he'll get immunity to the giant money laundering web and crypto is real. I don't know how far out the hidden network roots go with that. I think they're pretty deep, but we'll just have to see what all these investigations, what they bring about. And I think that's people have to understand this is a subpoena to Hit Network. Okay, Hit Network was a company that was under our main company, BJ Investments. I'm still the 67% owner of, by the way. The reason why I got kicked out was because they went and told the police that I was going to kill them and that I was going to come in with a gun, and so they put an off-duty policeman there in front of the building until we had a court hearing, and I lost the first court hearing. It was a judge that didn't care about the case, and I lost it, and so then they let their guards down or whatever. But there was already an order that I couldn't go to the building now, even though I'm still 67% owner of the company. Still, that's not in debate. That is not in dispute. It's, am I an active member? Am I able to vote or get money? That's what the question is. And so the thing is that when you look at the way this was set up, TJ has a personal holding company, and I have a personal holding company. Mine was better than TJ LLC. I guess you figure out why he hated me. The new name of my company is still better than TJ LLC, but that's another thing.
What is it?
No, my new one is still better than TJ.
That's what it is.
That's the company name.
My new one, my former one was better than TJ LLC. This one's still better. And his is called TJSJ. And the IRS audit is to TJSJ. It is not to any other company. It is to TJ's personal holding company, because he lied on his taxes. He did the taxes in 2021 before the business taxes were ever done. They were trying to stick me with millions and millions and millions of dollars in tax debt is what they were ultimately trying to do, and stick me with, all these crimes that they've committed, and they're going to come out. And so the thing is that the subpoena to Hit Network, that was TJ's side of the company. I was still 67% owner of it at the time, because BJ Investments owned that, and everything that owned, I owned 67% of. But the thing is that here's the question that everyone should be asking themselves. If supposedly this is about Bitcoin and this is about me, my company was High Throughput Productions. We did business as BitBoy Crypto, but High Throughput Productions was the name of the LLC I established back in, I believe, 2019 or 2020 it was. And that got grandfathered into the company. All BitBoy Crypto, everything BitBoy Crypto was done through High Throughput Productions. All the money in the company basically came in through High Throughput Productions. And the question is, or it came in because of that, and then it got directed other places when it got in oftentimes. Since this is Hit Network, I never worked for Hit Network. Why were they trading? Why do they want the trading activities of Hit Network? It's very strange. My name is nowhere in the subpoena. The subpoena should be public. People should be able to find it somewhere. I think people can request it or to see the case. I can't. I'm not going to make the whole thing public. I'm not going to be the person to do it, but I do have it. Mm-hmm. I'm not mentioned anywhere on it at all. They want the trading activities. Remember, I'm not a trader. I'm not a trader. I told you guys I do some trading on Femex, but I have never done a ton of spot trading because I just don't have time. I never had time to sit around and trade and things like that. So it goes directly to them. So anyways, that kind of breaks down what is going on, how these investigations are leading. And this is separate from our lawsuit and our investigation with our cop that does blockchain analysis, we just sent to the court. We just sent to them a bunch of chain analysis graphics that the cop labeled Vumio money laundering. So Vumio is another whole piece of this story. It involves Justin Williams and TJ, of course, and stealing investor money from Crypto Zombie, from George, Cryptos RS, from Wendy, who's involved in all this. Wendy's involved in all this. I'm not going to bash her publicly right now, but the fact is she was heavily involved in this. But there were a lot of investors in Vumio, and only one that I know of ever asked for a refund. And that's really weird, isn't it? They haven't built anything in 2 years. All they can show you like a video they made, or they can show you a back, the back office of it. That's nothing. They can show you that, and they can show you some money because they move money from other places to make it look like it was Vumio money. The Vumio money that came in was immediately moved to Justin Williams' wallet, where he bought NFTs and then laundered those and moved those around through bridges and different chains, ultimately landing, I think, a lot of it on Polygon. And now Cassie has done all this chain analysis along with Jake, our cop that helps us. But the fact is that all of that money is gone too. And the thing is that the first time we went to court, the judge was like, who cares? The second time we went to court, it was over the extortion of the Lamborghini. And I was told that they couldn't determine who actually owned the Lamborghini. And that's why they didn't get arrested. The next court hearing we had for our big lawsuit, Tim Shedd admitted that the Lamborghini was my personal asset. He admitted it under oath in court. The Lamborghini was my personal asset, which meant that in that Lamborghini hearing, if that information would have been public and known, TJ and Carlos would have gone to jail for extortion.
So who do you think is behind this? If it's a bigger person, do you think it's SBF? Do you think it's one of the other big YouTube channels? Do you think it's like who is the person behind the scenes that you're now wondering?
Look, I think it's a person that nobody would know. That's what I would say. If I said who I think it is, nobody would know this person. And I don't think it's necessarily somebody that is known, is what I'll say. And it could be. I do have some suspicions. There are some people. There's one guy that ran a company called Coinbound. TJ worked there, and TJ came to me from Coinbound. And there's a lot of suspicious stuff around Coinbound. Coinbound, they kept my name up there on the website. Like I did work for them. I did 2 or 3 videos for them in 2019. And they kept it up through 2022 or 2023, me on their website. And that was actually used as evidence against me in the FTX lawsuit against me that got dropped 100% because, as always, I tell the truth. I didn't ever get paid by FTX. Now we've come to find out there were actually a few FTX addresses that might have been associated with my company or people that worked there, but I never knew that we even had one, right? I never got paid by FTX. We were never sponsored. I think maybe Sam didn't like me because I made fun of his hair from the first time I ever saw him. And so I think that, it's not necessarily someone from crypto. It could be someone from crypto. I'm aware of a lot of possibilities. But I've gotten so deep into the rabbit hole that I've had to close the rabbit hole and say, until stuff starts to break, which is going to break very soon, then, I'm not going to know for sure. Like this catches us up to today, what just happened in the court. So in February, we won a hearing for a special master, meaning a person got to come in and oversee all the finances of the company. And it took 2 months for the judge to actually place that order in. And when that happened, they had already, between February and April, when the order was actually installed, they moved millions of dollars. They think because they use some exchanges that we can't still track the money, but chain analysis has developed quite far now. They also, what they did, they went on Arkham and they tagged my Twitter profile to most of their bad addresses to make it look like it was me. But we've done the chain analysis. We have 100% proof on so many cases of these addresses that they claim were mine were created by Tim Shedd. They were created by his wallet. We on the multi-sig, we have all that. So where we're at now is the special master came in and was in from June, started actually doing work about the first week of June. The court process is so slow. And we had another hearing in July and we were like, look, they're not giving her anything. They have never sent us, they've hardly sent us anything in discovery. We've pieced together everything because Cassie is a fucking unbelievable investigator. She was a paralegal and she is the smartest smartest woman I've ever been around. And she is the one who is going to become the death of them in a sense of the case and of what they've done, because she's tracked everything. She knows all the addresses that they've used. She knows which ones are mine, which are not that many compared to, they said, Tim Shedd said in court, they had about 20 addresses. We have hundreds. Actually, they use mixers, and they also use some protocols that will basically take a transaction and they will split it into like 5 transactions, and then that one will split into like 10 more transactions or whatever the case may be. And it just spider webs. They have thousands and thousands and thousands of addresses actually. And so where we're at now is that right. At this point, we told the court, we said, even though the special master had all this information they're doing, it was just going so slow. In the court, the judge caught TJ lying directly, all but told him that he all but called him a liar, and his attorney actually as well, a little bit later on, because he tried to make it sound like they had this big new gym, and he made it sound like it was just this little thing and somebody had donated all this equipment. All this is in the transcripts. And it comes to find out that no, he'd actually opened up he's opened like 20 new LLCs since they kicked me out, like 20, including some in Delaware, right? Oh, and this isn't even touching the real estate. This is only crypto stuff he's done. And so they know about all the real estate stuff as well. They forged my signature on a document. They made up this transaction that I took money. I think it was $300,000 for my $7 million worth of real estate that I had in the company. And they gave me $300,000. I said, that's it. I'm out of the company. Thanks, guys. That's what they're claiming. And so where we're at now is we went back to the court and we said, this is going too slow. Like, we need someone who's going to go in and do what the judge said. And so 2 nights ago, that order came out. The judge has now said that we are changing special masters, and the new special master will have the powers of a receiver, which means the new special master can go in and seize things and take it over and demand things. Whereas the last one, she's very nice, and she's going to stay and help with some of the accounting, I think. But these are hard people to deal with, and somebody's got to go in and kind of basically kick the door down and say, you got to give us this. Like, for instance, they tried to say we never had a Binance account. We got sued by Binance, or we got sued in the class action. We ended up having to settle for $40,000 on a Binance one because we did work with Binance and we had Binance addresses. Like, if you work with Binance, they pay you on Binance, especially in the early days, and they had addresses KYC'd by foreigners that they had that working doing contracting work. So they just lie. Like, how many times did we show my Binance account sometimes live on my channel? We did that before, and now they're claiming there was never a Binance address because they stole millions of dollars. So we are so close to this breaking open. Justin Williams is going to get interviewed by the court or by the special master here very soon, the next couple of weeks. We have another one. Their account, they've never done taxes. Not once. They've never done taxes. They got caught. Oh. They got caught over the weekend. I think it was last weekend. They got caught Friday night at 11:30 p.m. changing credit card expenses over to say that those credit card expenses for the company were my personal draws. So if I went on a trip for the company to speak and it was a travel expense, now it was relabeled as Ben owner draw. They tried to label everything. They tried to make a $5 million debt that one of our companies had to another one sound like it was an owner's draw. Like, and the court knows, they're onto them. And every time they know they're liars now. They know that they're liars. They've been caught lying. In the middle of one of the court sessions, the judge said, all I do is see this side of the room talking to them, talking about how this side of the room, me and Cassie, are bad people and are doing all these awful things. But yet all the bad behavior actually is coming from that side of the room. It's very interesting, isn't it? Almost like
can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
A quick question. Can we get a play-by-play of like what happened when you got arrested? And
oh yeah,
sure. We got like a video of the stuff, but we obviously like we all saw Twitter live videos and stuff. But like, what exactly happened and what happened when you cut out?
Yeah, of course. So what happened is I had found out from a guy that actually did some investigation for us and still does, and is actually who connected me with my current lawyers. He had found some information out on that Monday. And that was Monday. The Saturday night, so Saturday night, I make that big video where I explain, I play those audio clips. Cassie got me to record some of those calls, thank God. And so I play those audio clips and kind of started exposing them. People were like, wait a second, what are these guys talking about? You got one guy saying, remember, TJ said even on that day, he knew nothing about the Lamborghini. We have texts from the middle of August, and that was at the end of September. In the middle of August, him talking about trying to sell my Lamborghini. Okay. Mm-hmm. So just outright lies. People saw some of the intimidation stuff. I know I had I'm not scared of you, Carlos thing, because it was really what you guys are going to find when all this, it's coming. I don't know when. Maybe it's the end of the year. I hope it's next week. I hope it's very soon, but it may not be. Okay. When all this comes out and people actually see what was done to me and Cassie and what we had to go through, people are going to understand why I said that. Okay. Because when I had that call with Carlos, okay, I had that call with Carlos, I believe it probably would have been like August the 30th or 29th, maybe something like that. I had a call with Carlos where, or no, this was actually this was like the middle of September. Okay. So I had already started a lawsuit. They intimidated me, released my affair, extorted me and all this stuff, and got me to drop the lawsuit and told me I could come back in the company if I did all these things. Right. Which was, Cassie was telling me, don't go. This is stupid. I was like, I want my company back. So what happens is that we file, we go and file a second lawsuit because we dropped the first one. And then we found out they were lying and weren't letting us back in. And we went and refiled it. Right. So when we refiled it on that night, they knew we were at the lawyers. I think my old lawyer may have been in on it. I don't know. They said they own lawyers. I think they do own some lawyers and some judges, but not all. And so what happened is he calls me, and on this phone call, he is specifically trying to get me to say that he did not extort me over my Lamborghini. He wanted me to say those words on a recorded call that he was recording also, obviously. And I had a decision where I had to say, you know what? That's it. I'm not going to do it anymore. He asked me to say it, and I was out of excuses. And I said, I can't do that for you, Carlos. And that was the moment that everything changed. That was the moment that I went on the offensive. That was the moment that I said, I'm not scared of you, Carlos. That was the moment. Now, I would say it later on a video, but a lot of that stuff that I released from that video, of course, was these calls from TJ and Carlos that revealed so much, but there was so much damning evidence on that over the next couple of days, I think a few people disavowed them, including maybe their attorney or another attorney, their accountant, like some other people, I think, that are connected in crypto disavowed them because they did it so sloppy and things got so public. And it was so obvious that this might not go the way everybody thought it was going to go. Rand from Crypto Banner's all in on this too, of course, obviously. He was the first person that did an interview about it. He had the information. He was the person that released the tweet, right? So what happened is after I released that, they tried to get me arrested. I think it was 3 times in 3 days. They tried to get me arrested for a hand wave emoji that I sent to TJ's wife when we took AJ on our side. That was all I sent, a hand wave emoji. Tried to get me arrested for it. There's literally a police report that says the police said, we can't arrest someone for that. We can't. Like, if you want to send us all the transcripts, there's other stuff. And she said, okay. And of course, she never sent anything because there was nothing. Then they tried to get me arrested for something else. Can't remember what it was. But then they had Nick Diamandi, Aaron Curry, and Brian Emery lie about BitBoy touching their dick to try to get me arrested for sexual assault. Literally. Literally. That's why I call him Dick Diamandi. His police report is the best one because it reads like a YouTube scriptwriter, because he's a content, It's like, he's like, I was eating at the table and BitBoy came in and bent me over the table and thrust it upon me. And as I looked back at him with terrified eyes, he said, I'm the boss and you'll like it. like, come on. Right. and so they brought a video up that was some kind of like I made some kind of, blowjob hand gesture or something at some point on camera. It didn't get put to, got cut out. And they took that and tried to use that at the police, in the Aquarius City Police, to get me arrested for sexual assault. And the police were like, what? And so Cassie ends up going up there and actually talking to him. I wasn't going to go up there because it was such a dicey subject. I know I didn't do anything, but you got 3 guys lying. And so Cassie goes up there and talks to him and tells him the whole story, and they dropped it, and nothing ever happened from it. So they tried to get me arrested for that because what I was saying was so damning. The things I was accusing them of, financial crimes, were so damning to them that they had to try to shut me up. So that's on that Saturday night. On that Monday.
Why do you think everyone's after you? It just seems like you have all these people after you and someone in the background. It's like this.
I'm a Scorpio. Scorpios are often maligned for no reason. Often just misunderstood, very misunderstood.
It's a bit scary, right? You just have all these guys after you trying to frame you.
I'm not the Tinder swindler. Okay? I'm not the Tinder swindler. I actually do have real enemies that did do this to me. And there's evidence, like you guys see, they're in the middle of CFTC investigations. That's not a minor thing. And there are 15 addresses directly related to that building. So I think what's going to come out is some of these people were actually, some of these projects were actually started by, I think, maybe people in my building or in
do you get worried about like safety and stuff? Like how do you live on like a daily, but like at this, I don't know.
I have been scared at times. Yeah. When I was at the Bitcoin conference, I got pretty scared. There were some things that happened there that I wasn't comfortable with, and I left early. People didn't even know I left early. I left 2 days early, and they kicked me out of the conference, of course. The second day I was there, just randomly. But so I went home early, and I felt like death was chasing me that weekend. I really did. I felt like that. There have been times when I felt like that. But I think one thing that I've done, and this is why I absolutely will not speculate about who I think is actually behind this. It could be Tim Shedd that was actually behind it the whole time. It could end up it was TJ's dad that was behind it. It could be. But the fact is that whoever is, responsible for all this, it's been going on for a long time. There were years that was going on. Years in my building of me basically living a psyop. And right now, it's still plausible to people that I'm the crazy one and I'm lying, right? One of the things that made me really paranoid for, kind of recently, I had a moment where I was way too paranoid, and I saw some connections that I thought were there that may or may not have actually have been there, right? And it caused me to kind of have a moment of a lapse in judgment. And the thing is, after this event occurred, I really sat there and thought to myself, like, I've got to do something different. And I had some phone calls. I called some people that I've been wanting to talk to. And I called them, I talked to them. And
human trafficking stuff that you were talking about? I remember I've read some stuff that you like linked it to Epstein or like.
Well, I have not linked it directly to Epstein. And right. I think, but I also would not rule out that is possible. I would not rule out that is possible. Okay. What I've said over and over again is the guy who I talked to, I call him Mr. X. Mr. X told me, he told me specifically that there are things that he touches and he will not touch. And he specifically told me he moves money for the government, is what I'll say. He moves money for the government. There's always official money and there's unofficial money, right? You think all the Bitcoin they have is what they show? No, there's an unofficial side. And he moves money for them on the unofficial side. He does not move money for chemical drugs, human trafficking, or crimes against women and children. And he told me that very specifically. And he's been very specific about telling me that. And I think that's because I think this circle touches all of that stuff. We know it touches child porn. We know that for sure. It's on blockchain. Jake, our police officers, found it. And I mean, I haven't seen it, but he's got basically some, blurred out images or whatever on one of these sheets that shows the connection. And I don't even know what that means. I don't know if that means that they were used to purchase that. I know you can somehow actually put it on the blockchain. I don't know that stuff. Okay. But what I do know is we know it does touch that for sure. Okay. So because of that, you can start making some other assumptions. And I think that when you look at crime, right, and as much money has been sold, we estimate that it's at least $50 to $65 million that was stolen from me, at least. It might be much more, right? I was only shown the numbers they wanted to show me the whole time, and it showed us peaking at 40 million, including real estate. But we know that those addresses weren't the real addresses they were using. They were using many, many other ones. So there's no telling. And all they were doing was pumping and dumping and making it look like it was me the whole time.
Yeah, how was this number accrued? 40 million. It was 40 million in coins, or?
Well, it was our total overall portfolio. I think we had like maybe $7 or $8 million worth of real estate at that time. And I think we hit like 30 something in the portfolio that I was shown. But I don't know what they actually had. And we know now that what the CFTC thing is going to be about is pumping and dumping. They were absolutely using me to pump coins massively and then just dump them. And then if anything ever happened, like I ever sold any coins at any time, like I was told, hey, we can't sell coins, right? They were just trying to cripple me the whole time and take all the money. And so I think that it's right now, there's still.
That's what happened. Like they would say, so that's how the deals will come in and be like, hey, we're going to promote this coin today. They would say, you're going to get some in your own personal wallet. We're going to get some in the company wallet. You're not allowed to trade your amount. Don't ask any questions.
So here's an example of something that happened. There was a project YFDI. I now believe there was bad stuff probably with YFDI going on behind the scenes. There was probably bad stuff in my own building going on with YFDI I didn't know about behind the scenes. Because you got to keep in mind, these people are feeding me projects. So what are they doing? They're feeding me projects that fit every parameter that I like, right? Because they know what I like. And they're the ones that are pushing these to me. And I think in some cases, like this guy, the cat, like in fact, designing some of these projects and pushing it to me because they knew that I love decentralized social media. I love metaverse. I love exchange coins. Like I love all kinds of different coins, right? People know a lot of the stuff that I like. And I go through seasons where I like some, don't like others, but they were giving those to me and they were pumping and dumping and they were never going to do what they said that they were going to do. And so one time I got my payment from YFDI. This was not because we shared access to the main wallet at some point until they moved all the stuff out of the main wallet and had all their own wallets. And now I'm the only person I think that has access to that when they probably still have a private key somewhere. There's nothing in it. But the point is that my payment came in and I don't remember what I needed, but I was like, you know what? I wanted to have some money. I've never had over $150,000 in my bank account ever, except for when we were making payments on my house. They would send it right through and it would go out immediately. They kept me cash poor a lot of the time. I know $150,000 doesn't sound like cash poor, but when you're coming to $40 million, it is. When that's the most. Most time I hover between $20,000 and $30,000. Sometimes I 10 to 20. And the thing is that when you looked at when I would want to cash out, so I got the payment into that wallet. I said, okay, I'm going to cash this out. I cashed it out, and immediately the guy who arranged the deal called me and said, "You can't. Oh my God, the community are going to lose it when they see that you sold. They're going to lose it, right?" But it doesn't make any sense because my own people were dumping it in the back end completely, right? They were trying to break me the whole time. This has been about breaking me. This has been about breaking Ben Armstrong and stealing everything that I built. That is what this has been about. And at this point, there is still deniable plausibility. People are still saying, well, okay, but Ben Coin's on that CFTC subpoena, so maybe Ben's crazy. He's making all this up. No, guys, it's not. That's not going to happen. It's a matter of when, not if, that everybody's going to find out all this stuff. So, and we're excited.
What was the deal with Ben Coin?
Was that the CFTC investigation has Bitcoin as one of the 15 coins. And the reason is because they had all these wallets that they were using to buy and then sell Bitcoin. And I think they were actually probably doing it through the people that was the other half that funded the company or something like that. But they were selling off millions of dollars of it, which means that they made their millions of dollars. They made millions of dollars on Bitcoin and made everybody else poor. And that's what they've done with every project that they've touched. And they love to come out and say, like, we're front-facing industry, or we're discover crypto, or, we only like good projects. And, and then we have videos of TJ doing interviews with agents saying, we'll do anything for money, basically. Right. That was one reason the big story. Let me give you the big story. There's two big stories that are going to come out of this that are going to be really big. One is going to be the story of three men who always have their name attached to lying about BitBoy touching their dicks. So I'm really excited about that. Dick Namandi and Brian Emery and Aaron Curry are always going to be attached with making up fake male sexual assault allegations, because I would never, I don't treat women like that. I never have, I never would. So there would never be a woman that would say something like that. Right. So they had to and then they tried to say I was gay. And on the Altcoin Daily interview, right, I had this affair with Cassie, who she's hot, let's be honest. And this the whole thing is about this big affair and this drug relapse and all this stuff. And, then they come out and say, Altcoin Daily says, are you implying that Ben might be gay? And he goes, you'd have to ask him. So we did a press conference on my channel where Cassie stood beside me and I announced I was not a homosexual. Really, nobody thought that I was gay. Nobody thought that. But they would just make stuff like that up in order to, get their rocks off in the beginning of this. And what was my point? What was I bringing up? What was the thing I said?
I wanted to focus on what's been happening over the last 12 months, because I think people who maybe weren't following the channel got bits of it, right? We saw the arrest. We saw, I think, a couple of videos after that, and then I think I remember you seeing a video where you said you hit rock bottom, and then suddenly, honestly, the next thing I think I remember vividly was you doing karate combat. What has happened over the last 12 months? And also we saw an old video of you lost a lot of weight. You clearly not relapsed, I hope. Yeah. Right. You're looking a lot better. Well, you lost a lot of weight at least. And you're obviously doing these fights. So what's been going on over the last 12 months? How have you rebuilt your life and stuff?
Yeah. So, well, obviously, like I'm, I've been seeing my kids a lot on that side. I've been going through a divorce. As people know, that's still not over yet. I'm hoping it'll be over soon. And then as soon as my divorce is over, I'm going to propose to Cassie and we're going to get married. I mean, this is where my life is going. This wasn't just some kind of, I changed my life completely for somebody that I wasn't going to be with. Right. Cassie is, like I said, the love of my life. And so from a personal standpoint, the stuff with the kids has obviously been hard because it's harder than anybody that goes through a divorce, I believe. But with, my home life, like it's really good. And I really enjoy it. And I'm there's not a time where I feel like I'm bored or I don't have anything to do or I need to find somebody else to talk to. Like I enjoy being with Cassie all the time. We're both workaholics. We're both, into crypto. I got upset with her the other night because I was trying to kiss her and she kept trying to tell me about Swee, so that's what it's like. It's not the best to have the crypto girlfriend sometimes. Okay. Sometimes anyway. So the point is so from that standpoint, that's where that is. And then we got a new studio. It's much smaller than the old one. And Jay Chains works with me and Cassie comes on the show. She's been doing a lot of court stuff lately. So hasn't been on as much. AJ writes crypto. He's here in the building. He's making videos right now, I think. And so we built the channel and we're up to 122,000 subscribers now, or 121,000 subscribers maybe. And so we're doing pretty well. And I do believe I will get the old channel back before the end of the year though. So I'm gonna have 2 big channels. It's gonna be really cool. I'm gonna be excited about it. But the thing is that as far as the karate combat stuff goes, I was first approached with this idea. I'm going to tell you guys a crazy story that's true. Okay. This is a true story. I was going to fight Blockchain Boy and I wanted to fight Blockchain Boy and I wanted to turn it into like a Lil Mac versus King Hippo thing. I've got some green shorts, I had the green boxing gloves. I love Mike Tyson's punch up growing up and I really liked that. And I was like, cool, I'm just going to hit him in the belly a couple times. And then he flaked out, said he couldn't do it, wasn't in shape. So then they got this other guy. His name's Patty Stash, and Patty Stash was going to fight me. He's like 6'3", he's a big guy. I think he's 6'3". He's definitely 6'1" at least.
Oh, yeah, he's in the NFT space for a while.
Yeah, exactly. He's a big dude. I think he played baseball in college, maybe something like that. And basically, I was going to fight him, and I believe that it's hard for me to say. Let me tell you what was believed. Okay, I think they believed that Patty was going to beat the fuck out of me. I think that's what they thought. They thought that. And he's probably much more athletic than he might be much more athletic than they were, leaning on. I know he's friends with Brian Evans, who is a big, money launderer in the space and is a big problem for a lot of people and they don't realize it. And I'm not saying anything bad. I want to be clear. I'm not saying anything bad about Patty. I don't know him personally to say anything bad about him. He's never been mean to me or anything like that. But what I will tell you is I was in Washington, D.C., obviously getting the ETF approved. Everybody knows that I went and met Gary Gensler and got the ETF approved and stood there with the sign, right? Everybody knows that. And while I was there, I was walking near Union Station. I think it's Union Station or whatever the Washington, D.C. one is. And the train station. And a man in a hat and a trench coat walks past me, hands me a piece of a note, folded up, and says, "Read it." And I said, "Okay," and walked away. Well, as soon as the man gets out of my range, I open it up. And on that piece of paper folded up, it's not folded anymore, I've unfolded it. On the piece of paper, it says something. I'm not going to say what it said because it's not important, okay? What happened is I read that and I believed that somebody was trying to sabotage my opponent. And so I called him that night or a couple nights later, whenever, and I said, "Hey, just so you know, like, I'm not going to do anything with this thing. I'm not going to use it." Because I thought the person handed it to me because they wanted me to use it against the guy. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I didn't want a part of that. I didn't want this to turn ugly,
Use what? Is like a thing or?
Well, it was something that I now believe. Here's what let me explain it. Okay. So what happened was I call him and I tell him about it. I said, "I'm not going to use it. I just want you to know this happened. It was one of the weirdest things that ever happened to me." And he goes, "Oh, okay, cool." Like 2 days later, he pulls out of the fight. I thought it was given to me in order to take that information that was on it and use it publicly against him to hurt him and to make him angry or something, right? But I now believe that was handed to me because I'm predictable and people know what I'll do and I'm a good person. And I've never said anything bad about that guy. And so when I got that, they knew I was going to call him. And when I called him, I think that person knew that whatever was about that, he was going to drop out of the fight because he did. He dropped out of the fight.
I got it. So it wasn't a thing. It was more like dirty details.
Something
that he may have done.
Okay. But may have been involved with, but it's not. Look, that neither is here nor there. The point is that was a really weird thing that happened, and then that led me to fight Morelight, who is probably a much better matched opponent for me, and I end up winning. And it was just really interesting the way that happened. And of course, Mr. X took credit for that. Mr. X told me that he was behind sending that note, and he told me that before I made it public. So that happened. There was something that happened that was done in order to change my opponent out, I believe. And I fight Morelight, and it was an amazing fight. I like Morelight. He's a really cool dude. And I said it before I fought him, it wasn't about him. I was fighting for my career. I was fighting for my career. And you guys know I did not even know I got knocked down until I watched it later. I didn't know. I couldn't figure out why I lost the first round. I thought I got more punches in. I was like, I lost the first round. What? Why do I have one more round? So, but it's been the best thing mentally for me that I've ever done. When I'm fighting and I'm training now. I'm probably not going to fight. I got a shoulder injury from my boxing match, so I'm not going to fight probably until, I want to fight March or April probably, but we'll see. But I am going to definitely do one more fight. Cassie's told me only one more, so maybe if I go and get a one punch knockout, maybe I can get one more after that. But we'll see. So
OSF does some fighting as well. He did the crypto fight night once.
Yeah,
you guys should. We can't face each other, but maybe a co-main
class. I'm gonna be. I think I'm pretty small.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I like the crypto fight nights. I'm going to Singapore to do. I'm not sure what they're going to have me do. Some interviews or some hosting or something like that. So really excited to watch Nick Carter fight over there. I after doing boxing and karate, for me, karate is a little more geared for my cardio. I think, even though I was more out of breath after the second fight than the first one. My cardio is going to be much better for next fight. I'm like running, 3 or 4 times a week to try to get it up a lot better. But I think that the karate is a little more freestyle. You can move around a lot more. And in a boxing ring, you feel kind of restricted. I love the pit. It's a great setup.
Yeah. So the show went fast. We're kind of bumping up against time here, but we want to know what's next for
a few more minutes. I'd stay on for a few more minutes. If somebody will go over to FEMAX and on their space.
We can stay on for probably like 5 to 7 more minutes. I have a caller after this, but
cool.
What's next for BitBoy? I guess. Why don't we get into that? Will there be another Lamborghini? Like, is the come up happening? What's going to happen next?
I believe I will have the same Lamborghini back. I believe. I don't know if I'll keep the wrap. I might change it. I think I'm going to change our logo colors to orange and black instead of like light orange and gray. I think it's probably something I'm going to do, and then I might get a Lambo wrap with that down the road. That's something I'm thinking about. But I think, yes, absolutely, because here's what I see people in the chat. I saw some people saying some stuff about a documentary or a movie. Mm-hmm. Guys, when all this goes public, there's no way this is not turning in. This is going to have to be a full entire Netflix show. There's going to have to be 3 seasons of a show to really show you guys. I have given you guys like just a little bitty tiny peek into all the stuff. It's impossible to tell.
What's the craziest thing that's going to happen on the show? I heard a lot of 3-letter organizations involved in this. So, I mean, like, where's it going? What's the craziest part of the show?
The craziest thing is going to be when TJ gets arrested. When TJ gets arrested and Justin Williams gets arrested, and when some of these other players, his dad, TJ's dad gets arrested, and Carlos will probably be arrested as well, it's going to send shockwaves. And because this story is so crazy and it's going to go public because we are crushing them in court, because it's going to go public, this is going to be one of the most interesting stories people have ever seen. People have never seen this on YouTube. People have never seen a self-titled YouTuber like me, BitBoy, it was my name, taken from his own channel. It was like taking Jake Paul. Now, I'm not comparing myself to Jake Paul's numbers, but I had 1.4 million subscribers. There's not that many legitimate million subscribers.
1.4 million subscribers on YouTube?
Yeah, that's what they've dropped. We had 1.47, I think. And then they dropped all the way back down under 1.4 when they kicked me out. So the thing is this is going to get attention because it's got everything. It has crime. It has lying. It has deception. It has a psyop. It has a hot chick in an affair. It has it has somebody that is saying they've got all these good values and then gets involved in this giant scandal, which I do have good values. I just there's a thing that happened in my life. It's just what I can say. And I think that one of let me tell you the biggest story that's going to come out of this. The biggest story that's going to come out of this, and I've said this several times, is that everyone thought that Ben Armstrong, BitBoy Crypto, was a pump and dump scammer. And the entire time, he has held tight to he has never done that one time. I have never pump and dumped, ever. And I have held on to the fact I have never done an undisclosed ad. I've never done it, okay? The fact is, everyone called me a scammer. And what's going to come out is it was all the people behind me that were doing everything to make the money and everything to make me look bad so they could eventually take it from me. I was so honest, they had to kick me out of my own company to do these scams because I never knew while I was there. If I would have had any idea this was going on, I would have shut it down immediately. And they know that. And that's going to be the biggest story. My complete and total redemption is going to come through all this. And the CFTC, people are going to see, I'm going to be the first one with immunity. And I'm going to be the first one they say he is not a focus of this. That's what is going to happen. And when that happens, people are going to really think to themselves, man, we were really a fucking asshole to this guy for years and years and years. And he was really on the side of the people the whole time.
So are the feds saying to you, like, are you in contact with them? Because surely also, like, you must know so many stories about so many different people in this industry. Like, you must see this and go like, wow, like this could blow up. This could blow up the US crypto operation. Let's say.
It could. And this is what I've been told. And this is why I quit making speculations. I just got to where it was making me crazy trying to figure every single detail out. I realized that just because someone's lying to you about something or is doing something you don't know about, it doesn't mean that they're in on a conspiracy against you. That's what I've come to find out is I think there are a lot of things that go on in circles around me that I don't know about, but it doesn't actually have anything to do with me. But because maybe there's some illegal money or something, like it would seem to touch, because you've got a gigantic multi-million-dollar money laundering operation on Highway 41 in Kennesaw, Georgia, within that. Okay. So because of all that, I think that I was associating maybe some stuff that didn't need to be associated, I would say. And what I was told by Mr. X unequivocally was that the way I'm supposed to go forward, I listen to his advice. He gives me advice on everything. And he said, the way I'm to go forward with this is I'm to concentrate on the core four. And that's who I'm going to concentrate on from now on. That's why I say I'm not going publicly after Wendy right now. I'm going after Carlos, aka Larry Smith, going after Tim Shedd Sr., Timothy Jerry Shedd Sr., TJ, Timothy Jerry Shedd Jr., and David Justin Williams. I'm going after those four people. Those are the four people, and there are others attached to the lawsuit as well, but those are the main four. And if it's outside of the walls of Hit Network, I'm just going to have to let it work out the way it's going to work out. I think this is going to splinter and spread a lot of directions. I think it's going to probably intentionally be cut off at certain points. And I don't know where those points are, so I'm not going to speculate. But I'm expecting this to be weeks. I did think 2 weeks ago that in the next 2 weeks, we would see something break. And we did. We saw the big change the judge made to the special master, giving the special master more powers and changing it to a guy that's actually more crypto savvy than the previous special master was. Great account in the previous one, but not necessarily that, it getting better, but not sophisticated enough in crypto, I think, to be able to follow the money in that area. So I think that once all of this finally starts seeping out, once the CFTC investigation becomes public and somebody finds the transcripts, or not the transcripts, but somebody finds the subpoena and people see the 15 coins and things like that, I think it's going to really start speeding up. And they've had to lie to the IRS and lie to the CFTC. I know they've lied to them. I know that for a fact. And so since they continue to lie to them, that continues to make it more complicated. And now their lies are starting to get caught. We finally have one situation where we got one person pointing at one person pointing at one person, and that person pointing at the other person. So we know for fact there's a big lie there now. With the way the finances were done. So we're just kind of at a point where we're trying to get, we just want the court to be like, okay, it's so obvious. Let's dissolve the company, sort out where all the money is, and give you your personal assets back. That's what I want.
Who's playing you in the movie, you think?
Yeah, I really want to play myself. People have always told me that it's going to be really hard for somebody to capture me on film because I am just and I don't understand it because I am me. But a lot of people tell me it's going to be really hard for somebody to capture me, and I'd be better doing it myself. But I'm not a professional actor. I have a movie credit in Clerks 3. But
I think everyone else could be played by different people, but you could be yourself.
I can see you playing yourself. Yeah.
So, guys, we're running out of time here. BitBoy, I feel like we need a part 2. I feel like there's so much on back here with 3-letter organizations coming, from every which way. IRS, CFTC, SEC. Yeah, maybe we can have a round 2 in a couple of weeks.
After stuff starts breaking.
Go though. A question we ask all of the guests, maybe you can opine to our valued listeners, is how to not get wrecked.
How to not get wrecked. Well, in my case, I would say don't trust people unequivocally. I think that's a great way to get wrecked, is trusting people unequivocally. It's a great way to get scammed. It's a great way to get phished. It's a great way to get your company stolen. One thing I've learned is that partners dissolving is the number one, or partners going south, partnerships is the number one business litigation that exists. And this has actually happened to a lot of people. And I'm in a very fortunate, rare situation to where I'm going to be able to win everything back. Most people aren't able to do that. And a big shout out to the community that gave me that donation for $80,000 in the very beginning of all this, or I wouldn't have been able to do that. And I paid back all the people that wanted to pay back. We had a form, so I paid a lot of that money back. But I think that was something that really helped me to fight. And I think that those other people, they underestimated how much I love Cassie, and they also underestimated how much the people that love me. So
that's fair. I like that. Do your due diligence and don't trust unequivocally. Yeah, let's get a part 2 going. Yeah, that would be amazing. We'd love to do that after some dust settles. Maybe we can hear more about the investigations, and hopefully you're back in the seat of the Lambo at that time doing the interview from there. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on. We'll chat again soon. Everyone, anything else before we sign off?
You want to plug Rekt Drinks again, OSF?
There you go.
Rewards.rektdrinks.com. Claim your free code on that.
I need to try one of these Rekt Drinks.
I'll get you guys some.
All right, perfect. Thanks, BitBoy. Thanks, guys.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
Bye.